Hello everyone, today we talk about suction motor and we see the difference between wet, humid and dry. The main difference about suction motor is what we can introduce inside the machine. We have different kind of suction motor. We have the wet system or the dry system that are the main one, and in the past there was also the liquid one. Let's start about the liquid one, that is the one that has water tube inside, so we need to supply water to the machinery to let it work. It's a very old system because the consumption of water was very high, so we don't use it anymore. The dry suction system is a motor where only air is arriving from the suction tube, so there are only this kind of tubing that arrive to the suction motor, not anything else. So we cannot put water or blood or any kind of solution inside the motor. The dry suction motor is used when you don't have any pipe for drain in the machinery room. We cannot bring away the liquids that are arriving to the motor. At the same time, the dry suction motor, it can be used when you need to install in an upper position comparing the dental unit. So for example, we have the dental unit on the first floor and the machinery room is at the second floor. So in that case, we need to use the dry suction system because we cannot bring the water up. The motor is suffering too much. When we apply the dry suction motor, we need to apply also air-water separator at the chair base. We need to install this valve in order to separate the water and let the water go to the drain that we have near the dental chair. The advantage of the dry suction motor is that, as I said, that we can place everywhere without any problem, but the cons is that we have to install an additional valve inside the dental unit, so the cost rises a little bit. About this valve that we use for the dry suction system, we have done some other video that you can see in the description, and let's go ahead. In front of us we have the wet suction system. That is the system that we like the most to provide to our customer because it's not necessary to install the valves that we need for the dry suction system, and so the cost is less, is more functional, and the consumption is similar to the dry suction system. So let's say that is the best model that we have and that we suggest. We don't need for this any kind of valves, if not the spit-on valve, but also for this one there is a dedicated video, but it's a different thing. And the installation is quite easy because here we're going to apply the suction tube. Here we have a filter. Here we have the exhaust air that has to go out of the machinery room because the bacteria is also in the air, so this tube must go outside. Additionally, we have the two wires that come from the machinery room, so from the suction motor to the dental unit, and these are for the activation. These two wires are present always in the dry suction system or in the wet suction system. Moreover, we have on the back of the machine the drain pipe for the water that has to go to the drain, so it has to go away from the machinery room. That is the one that contains blood, bacteria and everything. Of course, when we have one suction motor, dry or wet, and more dental unit that we need to connect to the motor, we need to apply also the selection valve. The selection valve is useful to separate the different suction that goes to the machine. We have done a video also for this, and have a look also to this one. The maintenance of the wet suction system is a bit more complicated. Let's say complicated, but it's super easy. But comparing the dry suction that doesn't need any kind of cleaning, in the wet suction system we have two things to do. The first one is to clean the filter of the suction that is inside as much as possible. So every day, if you use the dental unit a lot or every week at least, is a good practice. And at the same time, one of the most important thing to do is to put inside here the anti-foam pills. These allow to reduce the foaming inside the water and everything that the suction motor is taking inside, and so we don't damage the upper part, because the foam can remain inside the motor and can go in the upper part and create huge problem to the suction motor. If you want to have as less problem as possible, just keep it clean, the system, the filter, and also the anti-foam pills. In case you have already a suction motor in a clinic and you need to replace the dental unit, you need to know which kind of motor you have, because according to the suction motor that you have in the clinic, we need to install the proper valves. How we do recognize a wet suction system, a liquid suction system, or a dry suction system? Well, it's quite easy because in the dry suction system you don't have any drain pipe for water. So all we have is the tube that goes inside the machinery, and we don't have any tube that goes out except the one from the air that is up here, so we don't have that pipe. Easy. The wet suction system is as the one that we have here, and of course is the opposite. So we have the entrance, we have the exit on the back, that is simply a tube like this one. We have the exhaust there, and we don't have anything else. While in the liquid suction system, that is a very old system and probably is not so frequent for you to find in a clinic, is exactly the same as the wet suction system, but on the head of the motor we have a tube, a little one, that introduces water in the head. You can recognize easily the different system. While you know this information, then we can easily build up the configuration of the dental unit with the valves that you need. I hope that the difference between the dry suction system and the wet suction system are quite clear. In case you still have some doubt, contact us or visit our website www.simple&smart.it, so our team can support you in the best way possible. This is everything, and thanks for watching, and see you next time.